All right, guys, we are back for another one of these. So I've been doing some videos on good and evil, and everything from a Catholic preacher to a ex-Satanist, and then this is one of these that will kind of expose just how, to me, evil people can be. Um, and this kind of goes along the lines of we went through Daryl Brooks in that trial and his interrogation, some clips that were shown in court. This is another one of another woman that is on Stranger Stories. So make sure you go check them out. But it's titled What It's Like to Interrogate a Ruthless Manipulator. I will say this though before I start out. This is just a personal thing. Annoys me when they put their watermark over the top of an interrogation video because they didn't like taxpayers paid for this interrogation. Taxpayers paid this lady's salary, paid for this building, paid for this room, paid for this time, paid for this camera. So it's like, yes, you have to sometimes request them, to have them released. Sure, yeah, I don't know. It's just what it is. But all right, here we go. This is a horrible, horrible story. It just shows you just how. And I'm not saying anything, by the way, about like the last two videos about saying that uh about her beliefs or whatever. This is just kind of an exposure. How Daryl Brooks can drive a car through a Christmas parade, and this person can bury your child like a dog in the backyard.
In my heart, something told me that he did something to my son. In my heart, I just knew something was wrong.
This video contains an interview of a woman accused of abusing and murdering her disabled 5-year-old son and then burying him in the yard. In December of 2017, police received a call from a man serving overseas, asking them to perform a wellness check. The man claimed that his brother, Christopher Rodriguez, and his girlfriend.
So the dude's calling from overseas to tell him what his brother did and his girlfriend.
Larissa Rodriguez had killed a child and buried him in the yard. Officers arrived, and while there were several children, none of them matched the description of the one they were looking for. The yard appeared undisturbed, but Jordan had been buried for 3 months, giving the ground time to settle. Now,
3 months. 3 months.
The house was in horrible condition, infested with rats and bed bugs. A stomach-churning discovery was made when one of the children was found.
Look, okay, rats, bed bugs, and then one of the kids was eating a sandwich that was full of cockroaches.
Eating a sandwich that contained cockroaches. For months, the social worker assigned to the family had been bribed with food stamps by Larissa. The social.
Oh, you didn't think it could get any worse? The government employee charged with the safety of the children was somehow bribed with food stamp money to not check on kids. Well, it just keeps on getting better and better, huh?
Worker failed to check the home, and this prolonged the discovery of Jordan's death. Larissa Rodriguez fed the officer a string of disturbing lies as to why Jordan was not there, and it didn't take long for everything she said to be proven false. Jordan died from
he died from a combination of abuse, neglect, and when he was found, Christopher and Larissa chose to bury him in the yard. And I think it's just like a dog. But now, so just remember, this is what's been done to him. He's been buried out in the backyard. This kid was, neglected, etc. And so remember this whenever you watch her interrogation of the show that she puts on.
combination of abuse and neglect, and when he was found unresponsive, Christopher and Larissa chose to bury him in the yard like an animal.
Some things have changed overnight. We did a lot more work on this. We just have a few questions. When this all happened, did you have a cell phone back then?
Yeah.
When this all happened, yeah, I just can't remember what number I had.
What kind of phone was it?
I had it was the same one as my daughter, the Samsung Galaxy on 5.
What color is it?
Silver and black.
Okay. Did you also have like a Samsung phone with a white backing? Like a brand new one?
Oh, I know which phone you're talking about. That we found, my daughter had found that. It was between two phones that was in the house. There was a bigger one.
Well, this one was found underneath your back porch.
Uh-oh.
Oh, probably my kids. Probably took it and threw it back there.
Which
Yeah,
kid?
sure they did.
I don't know. Probably one of my little ones.
Why would they
One that-
throw
Because
it
they
back?
play
Guard?
with it. It don't work. You know, we found it, and if we couldn't get it to break the code or whatever, Mariana found it when we was walking to the gas station.
Oh,
So
no.
we couldn't break the code or nothing, so we just let the kids play with it.
Okay. When I tell you some things have changed is we did talk with the coroner.
Okay.
And they finished their initial examination. And there are some problems.
Like,
The problems being Jordan had an old left wrist fracture. His left wrist was broken at some point and it was healed. It healed on its own.
Oh,
How? That's something you need to tell us. Jordan also has 3 fractured left ribs that healed on their own and a fractured right rib that healed on its own. And these are all injuries that were healing on their
now this is, I'm not going to talk all about my history and training or whatever, but I'm going to tell you something. If you are sitting there in a room and somebody tells you that your child has had all these broken bones and they were left unattended and healed on their own, do you sit there and look at them that they're asking you what you want to order from Mickey D's and whether you want the Big Mac or the quarter pounder? Because I mean, would you not be pissed off if you thought your kid was hurt or what, or concerned or upset or something?
own without medical help, which means he was in a lot of pain for a very long time. And you're not being honest about
Yeah.
what was happening to this kid.
see, what happened, I mean, I personally didn't, but I was scared myself, okay?
I personally didn't, but I was scared myself. I didn't. Holy hell. Just her. Ugh.
Scared of?
I think talking to my sisters yesterday actually opened up my eyes a little bit. And
Talking to her sisters, what opened up her eyes from watching her child sit there in excruciating pain, God knows how long, and she did absolutely nothing. But talking to her sister was when the clouds parted and the sun shone through, not the child that was her own child that was sitting there hurting. Okay, then.
it made me realize I should not be the only one taking full blame for this. I never put
Oh, my bad. See, I promise you, I've not watched this. Heard the first couple of minutes. I was like, oh, this, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Are you not? Oh my God, my child, not shocked and horror that this has happened or that she was an idiot and didn't notice something or what? What do you mean? I just thought his belly was hurting. No, she had a conversation with her sister and decided I'm not going to take the full fall for this. I'm going to blame somebody else too. Forget the kid. Apparently, I mean, kind of obvious when they buried him out back like an old yeller. I guess the kid is the last of her worries. Now she's just trying to save her ass.
my hands on my kids. You can ask any of them.
Sure, yeah.
And a lot of people used to tell me maybe that's why sometimes your kids don't listen. You know, sometimes I need to be more rough on them, but that's just not in me.
Sure.
To sit here and
I don't want to be that mother either. I just don't want to be that mother either.
Right, I don't. I mean, I was like that when I was little. I
Yeah.
can't be that type of mom to sit there and expect you, okay, my kid may do something wrong, but I see other discipline, you know, timeouts, you know, corner, you know, bedroom, you know, sometimes my Help Me Grow worker even seen it herself.
Listen to what now we've spun this into. First, it was she talked to her sister and decided that, yeah, I'm not going to take all the blame for this. Not, hey, whatever you're talking about, I didn't do it. I seen my husband rough him up or my boyfriend rough up my kids. You know, no, it was I'm not going to just be the only one to take the blame. That's not what you say if you've never put your hands on your children.
You know, no matter how bad my little ones can act up, I never had that in me to hit my kids.
When confronted about Jordan's injuries, Rodriguez begins to cry and says that she isn't the type of person who could ever hit her child,
Yeah.
and tries to shift the blame to her boyfriend.
Uh-huh.
Even if she is telling the truth, the fact remains that she knowingly allowed her child to be abused and didn't seek treatment.
Oh, yeah.
Then, without hesitation,
My oldest daughter, Chris, just because I defended my kids.
What? Wait a minute.
But I think I was just so scared because I used to get my ass beat by Chris just because I defended my kids. My daughter,
Well, she said just because I protected my kids, I wouldn't check. That's a closed caption error.
oldest daughter, my oldest son can tell you, my older son had a pull knife on him because he put his hands on me the way he did.
How long were you and Chris together?
About 2 years.
Okay. And he was living with you from day one?
Yeah.
Our understanding is that you were dating someone else who moved out and you met Chris online?
I was with Jake.
Okay.
But Jake wasn't in the house for more than 2 weeks.
Right.
Since when
and he left and then Chris came in.
Right.
And you met him online?
Yes.
All right.
So, if I could interject.
Yeah, please.
So what I see happening is like, I think March of 2016, you were going through the process of trying to enroll Jordan in a class that's specific for him. But is it Chris that doesn't want him to do this? Or is... Because what I'm reading...
I did try to get him enrolled in school and stuff like that.
Because what I read was Jordan would have benefited from an environment with children like him. He is autistic, most probably.
Yes. And what I did was, it was almost through the year. So when I talked to the development for the school, I said, well, they either said, well, I could send him now or send him next year. I preferred that he would have started the following year, so that way he's got a whole entire full year. And that's what my, intentions was, to send him to school.
To put your kid at the front of the class as opposed to the... I did the same thing with my daughter.
Yes, because I wanted my son to actually be around other kids, to actually learn and to actually,
Sure, you want some coffee or water?
I'll take some.
Coffee?
Yeah.
Cream and sugar?
Yes, please. And I was doing what I can, and if you notice, none of my kids or nothing ever went through this until I got with Chris.
I know. That's why, listen, Nina, I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I'm a mother and you're a mother.
And
I know you're
my sisters made me realize that,
Listen, I know you had a horrible upbringing.
That's terrible.
I know. So the most that we can do now is to... I understand where you're at, okay? But I have to press you on certain points. That's my job.
Understand.
And it's as a human being, I know it hurts you. I can see that it hurts you.
Since day one, ever since everything happened, I just...
I wonder what's happened with the Child Protection Services, the one that took the food stamp bribe money. Something better would have happened to her ass too. Because you tell me the government employee got off with a slap on the wrist or just losing her job. Oh, hell to the no.
I wanted to reach out. I wanted to tell somebody. The day it happened, the first person I wanted to talk to was my counselor. I wanted to tell her what happened, just because I was just so scared. I needed somebody to confide in.
Okay.
And I don't have that support.
When you say the day that it happened, do you mean
the same as...
And what do you mean you don't have the support? Listen to the contradictions. When you lie, it's really hard to keep up. She just got done saying that she talked to her sister, and her sister's the one that made her see the light and all this, and then she said she didn't have any support.
That day.
September 21st?
Yes.
Okay.
I needed somebody to talk to. And in my heart, something told me that he did something to my son.
You have to make the coffee if you want something.
Okay, thank you. In my heart, I just knew something was wrong. I just knew it. Okay, if he can hit on me And he can discipline my other kids, but he wouldn't discipline them like he did Jordan.
How does he discipline Jordan?
It was just different. I mean, as far as, you know how you said the sock in the mouth, none of my kids got the sock in the mouth, only Jordan. And I used to sit there and tell him, don't do that. You know, I used to get yelled at. My kids all can tell you I defended all my kids. And that's where a lot of me and his arguments came in, because I did defend my kids. And that's where he would put his hands on me. He even put a sock in my mouth when I tried to yell for help. I felt like I was stuck.
Rodriguez pushes Jordan to the background and makes herself out to
Exactly. He just said, what the heck is it? Me, me. Remember, it's 4-year-old. They dug up in the backyard. Wasn't her that felt bad and came and told everybody what happened to her kid. It was the boyfriend's brother that called for a welfare check. And when they walked in, her other children were eating cockroach sandwiches. So please, let's not forget how her other children that were still breathing were living.
be the victim. There is a misconception that a victim cannot be an abuser. But the truth is that abuse is cyclical more often than not. And Jordan, unlike his mother, did not have a choice about who to live with or a means of escape once the abuse began.
And every time something like that would happen.
Look how cute that little kid is. How cute he is. God love him. Poor feller.
Or a means of escape once the abuse began.
And every time something like that would happen, he would always bring up and make me feel like guilty, like I was the one who did that to Jordan. And I didn't hurt Jordan.
Well, so what, let me just say this.
I feel like I'm watching the female version of Daryl Brooks. Now, let me just get my stuff ready. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I can't. Can I really not do this? Well, oh man, you are kidding me. I have to do this.
We've seen pictures. Up until Christopher Rodriguez comes in the picture, he's a healthy
And he was healthy.
He was healthy. However, for whatever reason, he focused on that child. I don't know what that reason was.
And he tried to keep everybody away from me. I couldn't have friends. I couldn't have family.
See?
I couldn't have nobody.
I may have missed this. Did he actually physically abuse him? Did you see him?
A few times that I've seen, yes.
Okay. And what did he do?
He would smack him. He would, me personally, didn't see him fracture anything. Wasn't around, or if I went to the store, or if I, went out with my kids or something.
You won't see a fracture.
You won't. That's why it shocked me,
unless
because
it's a compound fracture.
Right, because
my
my son had a fracture when he jumped off the bicycle. He was on the bike with my older son. So I know, I took him to the hospital for that fracture.
But a rib fracture? You won't see that.
But see, I wish I would, it was just like Jordan trying to tell me something. When I told you that when he finally took his last breath, it was like he was mad. Like I seen in his face like he just wanted to tell me something.
I don't know, like, Mama, I'm dying. Maybe that's what he was trying to tell you. What the hell kind of messed up shit you got to have running in your brain to make that statement? When he was taking his last breath, he looked at me like he was mad about something, like he was trying to tell me something. I don't know, like, Mama, why did you do this? Mama, could you get me to the hospital? Mama, can I please get adopted by people that won't make me eat cockroach sandwiches?
But I just didn't know what that something was. And with him being speechless, I couldn't understand what it was. But I could tell it was just something so mad, like angry. And I thought he, like he was trying to cuss me out or something. But I took it as he was just trying to tell me, Mom, I love you, I gotta go.
How in the world do you confuse, first off, saying I was mad to, well, I thought he was just trying to tell me he loved me?
But in my heart, something told me that he had something to do with this. because every time after this happened, I just hated him. I hated everything. I just couldn't stand to be around him.
Did you ever ask her?
So what she's saying here to me is that her son, when he was there and took his last breath, that boyfriend wasn't even around. Because she just said every next time after she seen him, she just knew something and hated him. Is everybody following me? Am I alone on this sinking ship? Did that make any sense?
Believe?
I did. And I hated everything. I just couldn't stand to be
Yeah.
around him.
Did you ever ask him to leave?
I did. And he told me that if I was to call the cops, that he had the gas in his name, that they would tell me that he resides there, that he can't leave. So I just felt like I was trapped. And I even told him, this is my house. You have to go. But then he always threw up. Well, if he leaves, he's calling the cops and he's blaming everything on me. Which I didn't hurt Jordan. I take the fault for not taking him to the doctor. Yes, that was my fault. And my other fault was doing
Tissues, Ray. Bring tissues, Ray.
was given the idea to do that. But I didn't hurt Jordan.
I know.
It's not in my heart to hurt Jordan.
I know that. Do you know Jordan looked just like you? He looked just like you. Same face.
There was not one day ever since that happened I never thought about it.
I didn't know if you wanted cream, but
Because Jordan didn't deserve this.
what do you want?
Tissues,
Oh, okay.
please. Jordan's not, because we have your DNA, he's not identified yet. So I'm hopeful that later today he will be positively identified. You asked me if you could see him. I'm gonna steal one of these because you're starting to get to me.
I'm sorry.
Hey,
And my
listen,
sisters
no
made
one
me
in this
realize a
room-
lot. My sister, and I mean, I haven't talked to them in years. And they said, why are you taking the blame for this guy? And I admit, in my past, that's part of one of my counseling. I've had bad relationships, and it's a pattern.
Yeah.
It's a pattern, and that was something me and my counselor was working on. And this just happened to be another one that just,
Well, he might have been the worst one.
yeah. I think it was.
You do know we're gonna go talk to Chris. Have you talked to him at all during this time?
No.
Thank God this dude's talking, because this lady, like I know that. Listen, I very well know the good cop, bad cop thing. Okay, get it? She's trying to be relatable, and then he's going to come in with the hard questions. But like the let me take a tissue because you're getting to me. That's one I've never seen before.
No.
Talked to him before you were put in jail?
I talked to him. It was the same day you guys all came. I mean, not you guys, but when they came to the house, and to me, it just seemed like he didn't care.
What did you tell him?
Like,
Oh, you mean like the very beginning of this interrogation when she looked like the blank stare when he said, well, all the injuries her 4-year-old had on him. And she just looked at him like, oh, what do you mean?
Rodriguez has played on their sympathies and is doing her best to make sure her boyfriend takes all of the blame. At this point, it is best to let her talk, because the more details she gives, the easier it will be to find inconsistencies.
Oh, yeah.
It will also be useful to help turn the boyfriend against her, so they can see if any of his accusations can be substantiated.
I told him.
He was
All you gotta do is go back whenever she was talking about him taking his last breath, which I could not believe she said that the way that she did. And then said, I just was so mad because I felt like he had done this. So the next time I seen him, I couldn't even stand to look at him. Like, what do you mean? So she was the one that was there when he died. If you're listening to this and what she's saying.
in jail at the time.
Yes, he called me about 6 o'clock that evening, because that's when he got supposedly off of work, from in the work or whatever he did in the kitchen. And yeah, he's like, what's going on? I guess because the detectives went to talk to him. And when they went to talk to him, I guess they were asking him questions. He didn't specifically go into, he just wanted to know more about what happened on my side.
What you said.
Right. So when I
yeah.
sat there and I told him, and he was just like, he didn't seem like I was. You know, like I was scared, I was nervous, I'm, you know, shaking and spooked, and you know, he just seemed so calm. And, you know, like...
Did he tell you what to say, what you should say, what you shouldn't say?
No. That's why when you guys came and say now he changed up his story to something about December 2nd, that's because he heard me say it over the phone. He didn't know anything about what I told the police. But
so when we confront him,
Yeah, why wouldn't it? Why again? Think about who knows the date of something happening, and then she said anyway.
with
Shut up. Let's
Jordan's injuries, is he going to tell us otherwise that you're the one who did it?
a woman can't do it hit that much harder, and you know what? Anybody can tell you
Oh
that.
bullshit!
Can't do
We're gonna
it
do
hit that
this. We're gonna do the woman can't do it and hit that much harder. It's a 4-year-old boy. Are you kidding me?
much harder, and you know what? Anybody can tell you that. And I say that
That's not true.
I mean, he's a lot stronger
I understand.
than I am. And me personally, you can even ask my older son. My older son will
Anthony?
tell you, no, Angel.
Angel?
My oldest son will be the one to, if anything, between my oldest son and my oldest daughter.
Do you know how we would get a hold of Angel? I mean, do you know that number? Does he live on Wade Avenue with his dad? Or do they live someplace else in the first state?
His dad moved. I could try to get my little sister to contact Angel.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Angel right now, they message through Facebook Messenger. But I remember him leaving my oldest daughter a message with a phone number.
The oldest daughter is Mariana?
Yes. But I don't even know if the detectives got her phone. I mean, I tried calling, she's not answering. So I don't know if the detectives got it for like evidence or something like that.
Yeah, I don't have an answer. I don't think they do, but we'll find out.
Okay, because I've been trying to call her just to see how she's been doing.
Well, I think
trying to call her to be like, hey, you need to say this and this and this. I am Mother of the Year. Don't be telling them about the cockroach sandwiches on Saturdays.
right now she's in custody with foster care. So I think right now it's probably in her best interest that they keep the kids away from all this. Give them a break.
Right.
Christmas is coming up.
Yeah.
New Year's is coming up. Let them enjoy the holidays. They're going through enough right now. Because we're going to sit down with Mariana and have a talk with her too, but we're trying to give her some time to.
And can you guys at least tell her so that way she doesn't feel like she's scared, she doesn't have to talk? Can you guys please tell her that you
That she doesn't have to talk. Well, that was a Freudian slip.
guys know that I did open up and tell them and tell
Yes.
you guys?
We will tell her that you told us the
Because
truth.
she doesn't open up too much. And
Well, she's probably older than her years.
yeah.
She'd be more comfortable talking with Detective Remington?
Yeah.
Okay. Well then
I mean, not only that, but at the same time, if she knows that mom opened up and mom, you know, was honest and told, then she'll feel like it's okay for her to open up, that she doesn't have to feel scared that he's going to do something.
Okay.
So, do you want to know about the children? So you have 4 older children.
They
Interesting.
They split them 2 and 2.
2 and 2.
And
One of the dads was just here yesterday. They came and saw me yesterday.
Okay.
But I kind of almost refused their visit, but I didn't.
She's trying to tell her
Just
where her kids are, and now she's going to talk about her ex.
Because something told me it would make me feel better.
So, the older children are 1 hour from the city of Cleveland. They're together, 2 and 2 in 2 different
The
homes.
girls with the girls and the boys with
I
the boys.
don't know that specifically. All I know is that Erica Armstrong and Bill Rozier, I think.
I don't know who that is.
So they're in charge of their placement. that family is keeping them away from the television.
The children have been isolated from the news not only to spare them additional emotional trauma, but to ensure that their statements aren't influenced by anything they may see or hear.
So they're not seeing what's going on. Ray and I decided that the state of Ohio mandates that DCFS talks with them in the first week. We decided, between the two of us, that in the first week, we don't want to talk with them. Because you wouldn't believe this based on our interview yesterday, but I spent 10 years in sex crimes and child abuse. I want to give your children a chance to decompress, to have normal holidays.
Right.
And then
To let this, pass over through the holiday.
This is traumatic. And when they find out that Jordan is deceased, it will further be traumatic. So in their first visit, a counselor from Frontline will be with them.
Okay.
And they will explain to them that Jordan is deceased. And then Ray and I would like to sit down with Mariana because she's the oldest, and it's my understanding, you can correct me if my understanding is wrong, she was close with Jordan. And it's also my understanding that Mariana may have been touched physically by Christopher Rodriguez.
No, not in my knowledge.
Okay.
Mariana, and I know that for a simple fact because Mariana was always with me.
Okay.
Mariana's a mama's girl.
Okay.
She's never been alone with him.
That's good.
She's always, every time I go to the store, it's Mom, I'm going with you. So that for a fact, I know.
Has she ever witnessed anything between you and Chris?
No. I mean, are you talking about like
sex?
No.
Okay.
No, none of my kids.
Okay.
None of my kids. I'm not that type of mom where we sit there and make it.
I don't think you are, but if he's a predator, in other words, if he's attracted to you because he's got a home with you, he's got somebody putting a roof over his head and feeding him, and he's really attracted to kids, then he's playing you to get to her. And she may be afraid to tell you that.
Okay. As a mom, will you guys look into that for me?
I absolutely will.
I mean, because I personally don't think that, but who knows, And I say that because I was.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I've never seen a detective like feed impossible scenarios to give to someone to try and insinuate that their partner. This is a weird strategy to me. I don't know if I don't want to say I've never seen it, but I mean, not that I remember ever.
Touched when I was little, when I was 5 years old, by my foster brother, my 18-year-old foster brother. And they always say, if it happened to you, it could be possible it happened to your child. And I just want to make sure that that's cleared.
Well, I want to give her the floor to share that with me, if it has happened. And she has a unique relationship with her brothers and sisters in that.
And I also say that too, because her bond with Chris wasn't too. Mariana's one. She doesn't cling on to everybody. As far as males. As far as mom, yeah, she's very close to that. She's she's always been with me. Dad's never been there. She's never really had a father figure to step up and be that father figure, which she thought was Chris until the day Chris put his hands on me. And it's just like, that's why their relationship wasn't until kind of like towards the end-ish, like recently, to where her bond is okay.
You just have to keep reminding myself that when the police got there, whatever, to investigate, do the wellness check or whatever. The one, the not the child welfare person that was taking the food stamp money, but I guess the detectives that actually wanted to maybe try and do their job that day, that they found a child eating a damn cockroach sandwich.
It's not like
How far into the relationship are you and Chris before he puts his hands on you?
I would say, because it's technically not 2 years until this February. So it's been a year. It's about a year, right? About? No.
Well, I think
It's
he
going
comes
on-
into the picture in February of 2016.
No, March.
Okay.
It came in March because it was a
2015 or
Yeah,
16?
16, because this is going to be
16,
18 in a minute.
Yeah. So
You
it
get
would
over
be
the
Again, I'm confused why she's answering this for her. Let her answer it, even if she stumbles and tries to figure it out. Like, who is this This is got to be one of the worst detectives I've ever seen. But maybe there's a strategy. Maybe, I mean, she did get. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, she seems like she maybe knows this person or something. Maybe she's playing off that. You know.
So it would be actually 2 years in March.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been, what, about a year?
So you're a year
So-
in when he puts his hands on you the first time?
When he finally put his hands on me the first time was when his brother came into town. And I'm the type where, okay, if you make plans, at least make them ahead of time. You knew your brother was coming into town. And if we had plans, you're going to stop our plans just to be with your brother. And I kind of got upset because he said, oh, come on, let's go play some basketball.
When presented with the information that her daughter may have been molested, Rodriguez denies that it is possible. The child doesn't like to be away from her and avoids being alone with Christopher. This behavior is consistent with a child that has been sexually abused.
You complain about our time. Mm-hmm. Now that we have our time, where, kids are, it's just family,
Mm-hmm.
And then when we do have our time, you want to go run off with your brother. And so, I addressed it to him. No attitude, no nothing.
And that's what everybody always says. Oh, I was just so nice and kind when I was yelling at my partner about wanting to go fishing, or, every man knows. Listen, I'm a woman. I'm going to tell you right now, when women do that shit where I was just, I wasn't yelling, I wasn't mad or nothing. Bullshit. We know exactly how that goes. What? You want to go hang out with your brother? What about me? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, like, listen, I don't know. I'm just listening to the fact that they kind of buried her kid out in the backyard. I'm thinking this is probably not a stable person. And that brother she speaks of, is that the same brother that called law enforcement so they could go check on this poor kid that nobody had seen for 3 months? I'd say, I don't know much about this situation to the fullest, but I'd say that brother's kind of a hero.
And, and he just got pissed. He just got real furious.
Which brother?
Because his brother Scotty, the one that's in Pakistan or wherever he is, he just got real pissed, started hitting me.
They gotta say it that way. Pakistan or wherever he is. Jeez.
And, just literally that day he gave me a black eye.
Does Scotty know about this?
No. I mean, every time we got into it, he would always call his brother, but always make me look like I'm the bad one.
So
But
he would
he
confide to
knows-
his brother about
But he
it.
knows his brother. Come on now. Sometimes he would get mad because his brother would defend me. So he knows, like situations that we've been through. Some things that he's always called them every time. Or talk about he's going to pack up his stuff and leave. And, it's just, okay, then leave. I would have been more happy, but maybe all this would have been told and said.
Listen to these confusing scenarios where she first told these officers that she had tried to get him to leave, but he would threaten on telling telling cops what had happened with this little boy. But then she just got done telling a story about she was mad at him and complaining to him because he wanted to leave and go hang out with his brother, and she didn't want him to go. Like, what?
Said a long time ago. Maybe that would, but with him not leaving, with him threatening me, with him putting his hands on me, it got so bad my son grabbed a knife on him. And I'm sorry, I know this is domestic violence towards me, but I see it as self-defense. He's got a scar on his back because
Son.
I did it. Self-defending myself. Because he went and literally choked me, put me in the kitchen, slammed me against stuff, had a knife in his hand. I found something, I don't know whether it was a screwdriver or something. I just grabbed something and just got him
Called the
right in
police
the
out to the house. Somebody called. Your
No,
son.
nobody.
All right.
Nobody. And that's what gets me is that street.
Look at her. Look at her when she looks at like no nobody called. Nobody called. She couldn't call. She's talking about all these cell phones she has, and then she looks all confused as why nobody called the law. Hello, you're the one saying that he had a knife in his hand and threw you around the kitchen, and you had to what to puncture him with a screwdriver, and then you're gonna look confused why nobody reached out to law enforcement. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at the person that might have done that. Huh.
Is so highly protected by police that why didn't somebody? I mean, I even tried to jump out the window, try to get some help from somebody.
Does this make any sense? Then why was she mad at him when he wanted to go hang out with his brother instead wanted to stay there with her?
I feel like I couldn't even leave my house. And then when I sat there
Well,
scream, he put a sock in my mouth. So I couldn't. And then was sitting there screaming, you know, like I'm screaming, and he's sitting there choking me.
Let me ask you this. Is he, what you described to me about Jordan losing weight in his arms while developing a pot belly, that's malnutrition.
See, you can, even when you talk to my daughter, that's why I thought something was wrong going on with his kidney.
Okay, but
Because
my
he was
question
losing
is,
the weight, he was doing, you know, but
I'm not saying you did this. My question is that some sort of discipline that he does to this child?
no,
Does he withhold food from him?
no. That's why none of us ever thought it would have been
no,
anything
get the cockroach sandwiches over at my house, girl.
like that. Me, I thought it was his kidney because when he eat, everybody eat. All my kids eat first. I served every single last kid of mine first. And my daughter and my son, anybody can tell you. When I cook big meals.
Mm-hmm.
And applesauce, along with rat etouffee,
And Jordan, he was one to always eat.
Mm-hmm.
bed bug
Always.
biscuits.
We get pizza, he eats like 5-6 pieces of pizza. And you know, it surprises me because he was like, where do you put it, Jordan? You know, like,
Wow.
I mean, he always ate. That's why it surprised me when he started kind of losing his appetite. And I used to have to sit with him and say, Jordan, you got to at least eat something. At least take a couple bites.
Well,
you know,
when
because
does
I
he
never had
begin-
that problem with him.
When does he begin losing his appetite?
Because his ribs were broke.
I don't know the specific date. I mean,
Roughly
My
2
father
months.
keeping up with my kids.
Summertime, springtime, wintertime?
I could say it was about maybe summer, early summer. You know, he started losing appetite. I got him to at least drink something. I don't, you know, like some behaviors where I saw where I'm called for. Sometimes Jordan will wake up. I mean, remember how I told you, like with his rocking?
That's a signature. I don't mean to.
No, he's always did that ever since when he was a
That's
baby.
sort of a signature of children who have spent time in an incubator or children who are autistic. They will rock and self-soothe themselves.
See, that's the first time I heard that.
Jordan was
Yeah.
visibly malnourished,
You know, I
and
wonder
Rodriguez's
why. Because you never took your kid to a doctor.
assumption that it might be his kidneys is confusing. If your child's organs are causing enough problems that the signs are that noticeable, why would you not take them to the doctor as quickly as possible?
Well,
She claims he was not being starved, but her actions say otherwise.
Because I even asked the doctor too, and I was like, why does he do that?
Doctor.
You know, I guess
Self-soother.
because I wasn't there to, you know, rock him and cuddle him, and you know, until he was 4 months. That was what he used to do, and then used to get.
I mean, went in there for this first 4 months to rock and cuddle him. Even if you got a child in a daggum incubator, they will let you go in and touch that kid, like put your hands through those protective things in the incubator and let you touch your child. And after, usually after a few weeks, depending on how premature they are, they'll even take all the tubes and stuff and lay them and get skin to skin contact on your chest and stuff. Again, I'm not familiar with this child's history, of course, but like 4 months? Was she ever going to the hospital to see him?
Up in the middle of the nighttime. I used to, like, he would sleepwalk. So I would, sometimes have to keep an extra eye on him because I caught him one time going to the bathroom, getting toilet water and drinking toilet water. And I'm looking like, why is he,
Was he
is he
thirsty?
even alert when he's doing this? It'd be like certain behavior, and I used to have to stop him. He'd go straight to the refrigerator. I don't even know if he's like awake when he's doing this or if he's sleeping or, it's just things that I had to watch out with him. And he would just like get into anything and everything. And I noticed that when he did it, even after Jordan was gone, my other son was doing it. My other little son, my 4-year-old. And I'm looking like, is it because he watched Jordan do it? Or why is he doing the same thing that Jordan was doing?
It's a good question.
How many 4-year-olds you got?
I mean, is it a behavioral thing? I mean, it's just something that I recognize that Jordan used to do that. And it was just, and Jordan was perfectly fine. It was just something I felt like in that house too. Like it was not really wanting us there. Like a sense
Really?
of something. And I guess I don't know if you guys heard about this, but I found out after I moved there. Because when I went to see the house, it had a caution thingy wrapped around it, kind of like on the front bush. And I looked like maybe it was just for a Halloween decoration or something. But the neighbors and somebody had told me that actually a father had killed his son. Or something happened there. So it kind of like, like, wait a minute, this house is just like bad luck. And I mean, Jordan's behaviors didn't start till we moved there in that house. I never seen Jordan behavior act any different. His behavior just changed. It's just like I had to observe him a lot more there. Things that he was doing, I've never seen him do.
Well, to be fair, by the time you move there, he's really developing. An autistic child may be a little bit delayed.
Right, and he was 3 months delayed.
He's probably even more delayed than that. If we didn't get him into school, but he's developing into himself at age 3. So, is it a coincidence? I don't know. Is there something to do with this house? Perhaps.
But after the things happened with Jordan, my other little one, he was 3 when he was doing the same thing Jordan was doing.
Right? Is it a coincidence? I don't know. Is there? Obviously, you believe in spirits.
I've went through a couple things myself, so that's why.
I believe in spirits too, good and bad.
I've actually had one.
What kind of spirit is Christopher Rodriguez?
He's a Roman Catholic.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not talking about his religious affiliation.
Like what do you mean? He believes in Saint Michael.
Does he have a good soul with light in it, or does he have a black soul?
I say he's got a little bit of both. But when his anger comes out, it's real nasty. It's terrible.
In an attempt
I mean, the fact that flew over your head, what that lady was trying to say, and your reply is, oh, he's Roman Catholic. Like, do you understand they found the body of her 4-year-old son buried in their backyard, and she within minutes is admitted to like being the one that was there when he took his last breath, and her assumption was that when he looked at her, he looked like he was mad, like he was trying to tell her something. But then she'd convinced herself it was just telling her that he loved her. No, bitch, she's telling you why the hell you do this to me. You're supposed to be my mama.
To distract the investigators from focusing on the things that were done to Jordan, Rodriguez tries to blame it on the house being haunted. The investigator has enough experience and skill not to be sidetracked. She is able to use this line of conversation to bring the focus back to Christopher and what kind of person he is. Even though Rodriguez has painted him as an abuser, she is reluctant to label him as a bad person.
So he's an angry black cloud.
Yeah, I could say he went through a lot of things too in his life, but I mean, I've never been with somebody so angry like that. I mean,
everybody sitting here in this room has been through some horrible things in their life.
Right.
And
I mean, I even did too. But I mean,
but you didn't turn them around to your kids.
No, never.
But
never.
The difference is, and this is my experience of 10 years working over there, those ain't his kids.
Right.
His mouth may say, these are my kids.
Right. But his action speaks for
But at the end of the day, that's some other man's kid. And if he's interfering with my time, with you.
Right. And his thing was always, oh, you know, your baby daddy's going to try to come back and this and this and that. And, oh, that's my kid. And, you know, it was just, it was always just something with him. I mean,
so he's jealous in addition to all that? He's a jealous guy?
Very.
Now I'm going to point out discrepancies here. Okay, now she's got her to now with this leading kind of questions, which again I'm not fully understanding, but whatever. She said, "Oh, he's very jealous, very very jealous." But remember what it was a few minutes back, whenever she talked about him wanting to go out with his brother. Which one of it was that through the fit, not wanting him to leave the house to stay there with her for their time. Even though they live together, apparently were together all the time. She's the one that had the problem with him going somewhere without
her. Very. And that's one reason why I don't have my Facebook, is because I get compliments about how pretty I am and this and this and that.
Oh, God.
And all I said was thank you. It was a compliment. That's what you say when somebody gives you a compliment, right? Thank you.
Right.
There was no conversation other than thank you. And I had to hear it.
Male or female? Could be.
There was one time everything was perfectly fine. He was sitting up in the room. Says that the ghost spirit in the house, the female ghost spirit that we have in our house, sat there and told him to look at my Facebook. Looking on somebody in the past.
Let's see if our 9 o'clock can set up the other one.
What the hell? Oh, wait a minute. I need y'all to help me follow along. What? How do we go from Facebook to a female spirit to checking out her page? What? I was sitting up in the room,
sitting up in the room, says that the ghost spirit in the house, the female,
says that the ghost spirit in the house, the female spirit that we have in our house. Okay, she was talking about somebody complimenting her on Facebook. Everybody with me? Then she says, I'm not even gonna try. We'll be here all day.
Ghost spirit that we have in our house sat there and told him to look at my Facebook, looking on somebody in the past.
Let's see if our 9 o'clock can set up the other one.
It was somebody in the past that we never did anything. We were friends.
Okay.
Nothing, and I got accused.
And how'd the ghost
Listen,
spirit?
I have a really unique perspective into what your life is like.
What?
There's almost no female that I've ever met that hasn't had an unwanted sexual experience. And what those unwanted sexual experiences create are broken souls.
Okay, now this is where...
I completely understand the position that you're in. And if you want to continue this conversation later today, I'm happy to do that. If you want me to pull you back over here, I'm happy to do that. I feel for where you're at, because no woman should ever have to bury their child, and I think you did the best you could with what you had, but that guy was using you.
And that's why I told my sisters too. I said, if I ever get up out of here, I'm not going back. My sister says that they would help me get back on my feet, do what I have to do, because I was always had my own. Always had my kids. My kids have never been a day without me. This is my first Christmas without my kids.
At the end of the day, and I understand how you feel about if I ever get up out of here. I don't know what they're going to charge you with. My suspicion is it's going to be murder B. That's my
And
suspicion.
what gets me is he's not going to get charged for anything.
Oh, now that's not going to be true. And that's not going to be true.
And what is murder be?
It's a it's causing the death of another without a plan to actually do it.
Uh-huh.
And how much time and what am I really looking at? Can you tell me?
I can't.
Or just like a kind of, like
I would say, honestly, I would say probably double digits.
what's that?
At least in the neighborhood of a double digit. Now, I don't know what happens later on down the line. And I'm not in charge of that. I can only tell you that I had one other scenario that was very similar to this, and that particular female is doing 8 years. But I would submit this to you.
8 years for.
Were it me in your shoes, I would be thankful
I'll
that
tell you, we got a real big problem with the judicial system here in America. When you got people serving double digits, 30, 40 years for drug charges, and you got people that outright ended someone's life, ended a child's life, that she's talking about get out in 8 years, we got problems. If you're telling me people are incarcerated for 30, 40 years for pot, but if they find your kid in your backyard, then it's double digits. Like what? Again, we got problems. I think everybody would agree. Which one is a whole lot more terrible than the other?
my children are in homes where the adults can take care of them. This is not going to prohibit you from having conversation with your children.
Instead of focusing on the death of her son, Rodriguez is more concerned about how much jail time she might have to serve. Such questions are not going to make her a very sympathetic figure while on trial, as they show her to be selfish and callous.
This is not going to prohibit you from having a place in your children's life. You will still have communication with them. And you have a unique opportunity here. It doesn't matter what you do to your children. They will always love you. The important thing here is that you tell the truth, all the truth, even the truth as they see it. You ask for forgiveness and you move forward. Christopher, and I promise you, I know you wanted to punch me in the nose yesterday, and I accept that.
I was being sarcastic. I'm so sorry.
You weren't being sarcastic, you were angry. And it's my job.
But I'm not a fighter.
It's my job to make you angry.
I think I kind of
So she threatened to punch this lady in the talking about punching her in the face, but remember, she's not violent. She doesn't even believe in punishing her children. She believes in times outs and apparently starving them to death, but she would never whoop them.
got off that way because I'm so used to being when the guys come at me like that, it just I don't know, it's just like.
Do you understand that it's your eternal need to be with a guy that is attracting guys like that?
And that's what I need to change.
Well,
and
this is a unique opportunity to do that.
I have
heal
to do for
that
myself.
part of you.
Right.
So kids who are touched when they're kids wind up either hyper promiscuous or they wind up not at all promiscuous. It's up to you what you decide you were. But at the end of the day, both camps only feel good about themselves if they have a significant other. You have to heal that. You have to be comfortable with you. I don't need anyone else. I'm at peace with being alone, and only when I'm healthy will I attract someone else who's healthy. And I can say that because I'm 50. And I've been you.
What the hell?
There's a reason why I was so good at what I did across the hall. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
You still are. You do a very good job.
Oh,
Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I've been you. As a kid,
can we get back to the
as a
kid
kid,
in the yard?
my life wasn't as, not that you can compare them,
Say it wasn't so gravy.
but my point is, everybody has a story, right? It wasn't so gravy. But I had a good mom. I had a really good mom. And I don't think you did. And I don't think you had a great dad either.
I really didn't know my dad. He passed away when I was 5. I mean, I really didn't know too much about him. I knew my mom. You know, I got to meet her because I grew up in foster care myself. But I had got to meet her when I was 14. She gave up custody of all of us. We got lucky because we had a foster home that took all 3 of us,
Right.
all 3 sisters.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
I seen it as they mistreated us too. So I can't say all foster homes and all adopted homes are the greatest. But they kicked me out and gave me back to my mother at the age of 14, which the courts told me that they wasn't supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And it was court papered. And my mom was out there, drugs, might as well say prostitution because she was out there.
And this is to me where, like, I don't care if you're a YouTube streamer or a lady, that has a 4-year-old that you buried like a dog in the backyard. Your reputation should count for something nowadays, and that's one thing that makes me really mad about society today, is that people have the attention span of a flipping fruit fly. Like, it's like somebody will lie, 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 lie. And then some story will come up and they'll say something and be like, well, so and so said this happened. I'm like, and I'm sorry, is so and so a habitual liar? Well, yeah, but this time I think they're telling the truth. But no, man, make somebody's reputation mean something. Like, if they've not told you the truth about what color socks they had on Tuesday, don't expect them to tell you the truth of whether or not they ran over Fred on Friday. You know what I'm saying? Like, it bothers me to no end that, again, people cannot disseminate between somebody that's not truthful whenever it's convenient for them. I don't, this is why, like, everything she's saying now, I'm like, were your foster parents really that bad? And I wonder why they kicked you out when you were 14. Did it have anything to do with how you were acting? I don't know.
And she didn't have a great life herself.
Mm-hmm. And she had a horrible ending.
Yeah. And
So
I remember everybody
your,
telling me that, you know what, hopefully I don't end up like her.
this is your
Well,
unique
that's
opportunity to change the end of your life.
Because I could have been dead.
Of course you
I
could
could
have.
have been dead.
And
it used to get him mad because sometimes even after the situation with Jordan, it used to get me mad because he put his hands on me and choked me. And I had knots in my head and I said,
what? Wait a minute,
sometimes
what?
even after the situation with Jordan, it used to get me mad because
The situation with Jordan, by the way, is when he lost his life and they buried him in the backyard again, like a cat that had passed away, or a hamster.
because sometimes even after the situation with Jordan, it used to get me mad because he put his hands on me and choked me. And I had knots in my head and I said, I just wish I was with Jordan. And he said, what did you say? I said, I wish I was with Jordan. I wish I could take Jordan's place for him. You know, and he was just like, you know, because he didn't like the fact that I used to bring him Jordan. Oh, you know, you don't need nobody hearing like the fact that I used to bring him Jordan. Oh, you know, you don't need nobody hearing, you know, what happened and this and that. He would get pissed off.
What do you think he did to Jordan?
I think that morning, technically, something had to happen. I don't know what it could have been.
The investigator does an excellent job of building a connection with Rodriguez. When this happens, it significantly increases the chances of getting useful information from these interrogations, whether that is in the form of a confession or the suspect oversharing because they believe someone is on their side.
Something had to happen because Jordan wouldn't just collapse like that. You know, I don't know if maybe he might have pushed him, shoved him, punched him, could have even punched him.
Does he punch him?
Who knows? No, I've never seen him. But I mean, if you're talking about any type of fractures, I mean, who's to say?
There's a big difference between punching a child in the face where you're going to see the mark, or punching a child.
I'm going to interview the other one now.
Okay. Punching a child in the rib cage, and no one sees that. So what I'm saying to you is, this guy's a street dude. He knows how to hit.
Right.
He knows how to hit somebody in soft places with a hard object and not leave a mark. So what did he put a kidney shot on that boy?
See, this is where I disagree with the person that's narrating this in the background, saying she's doing a good job of report. That's one thing, but when you're feeding someone a story of like, oh well, he was the thug, he would know where to put hands on and it not be seen and all this other stuff. That's given way too much information as an out. I mean, you need to ask like open-ended questions to where she fills in the blanks, not this person filling in the blanks. That's where, again, you can build a rapport and a relationship with somebody without like giving them a storyline to use.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Who's to say?
What that he was pissed off at that kid for whatever reason, puts a kidney shot on the good kidney, and it's lights out.
Shut down.
Yeah. So now we could be very likely leaning toward a situation where Jordan was beaten to death based upon all these pre-mortem injuries that are in different stages of healing.
And something told me, I don't know what it was, it's just a feeling that he had something to do with this. Because I not once, ever, and as you've seen for yourself, pictures and everything.
Something told me he had something to do with this. Are we stupid here? Are we living in a fantasy world? Why in the world do you think you would rush and again bury your own kid in your backyard like a daggum dead parakeet and not call 911, not call anyone, hide it for 3 months? The brothers the one that called from over in Pakistan to say, please do a checkup on this child. And you're going to be like, well, I thought something was strange. You think?
I've always posted. My kids were always healthy. I've always took care of my kids. I never hit my kids. Everybody used to tell me, even the officer at the house, yes, you can. He's like, maybe you need a spanking, you know, and that's not in me to do that. You know, when I was little, I got hit with extension cords. I got hit with boards. I had to kneel on rice on a carpet. And I told myself those are things I never want my kids to go through. Nothing.
Hey, I don't want to be that mom either.
That's horrible.
I don't want to be that mom. I don't want to compel my child through fear.
So, and I remember he always used to tell me, well, you need to discipline your kids and this and this and that. And it's just like, I'm doing my best to discipline my kids.
What is his definition of discipline?
His, I guess, is more like spanking, and I don't know what he considers discipline.
Did you see him put the sock
Sometimes.
in Jordan's mouth and put him in a corner?
One time I did, yes. And I didn't like it. I didn't.
Did he make Jordan sit in a closet?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of, but it can't no say when I step out or, something like that. But as far as the closet goes, I know my kids play in the closet. That's all I know. My kids love to sit there and hang on the little bar thingy. And one time I caught my little one just sitting on the shelf up there, and I'm like, "What are you guys doing?" Typical kids.
Playhouse.
Mm-hmm. But as far as that, I don't know. But
Sure.
my Jordan didn't deserve any of this.
You think?
Well, and what I suggested to you yesterday is that the only way you heal yourself from all of this is to take responsibility for your side of the street. Meaning, if I drank, if I doped, if I didn't keep house, if I didn't put sheets on your bed, if I didn't feed you, if I was overwhelmed, if I didn't do my part to take care of you, then I own that. And
No, just like I take the responsibility. I didn't take him to the doctor. That was my fault. I mean, I didn't call the ambulance when he needed it. That was my fault. I also had part in putting him there because I just had a baby. So, and I'm feeling depressed.
Oh, look, I had a part in putting them there because I just had putting them where? Are you talking about the 4-year-old in the backyard? What is
I just had a baby. So, and I'm feeling depressed. I diagnosed with PTSD,
and probably postpartum.
And, I didn't know what to do. I just got scared, and I just was like, and I wasn't ready to let Jordan go because I've been through so much with Jordan. By myself, even before I got with Chris, I was taking him to the doctor. It was a lot, but I was working on getting there because my social worker, my counselor has a preemie, so she was working with me on some things that I could do with Jordan.
Well, let me ask you this. I don't know who Patrick Strawn is. My understanding from you is that this was a one-time liaison with him or a couple of time liaison with him?
Yeah, and then I got pregnant, and here comes Jordan, and I didn't want nothing to do with him. He didn't want nothing to do with me.
Okay.
So I told him, I sent him back, and I told him, you need to go to Texas, back home where, where you are.
So, but my question to you is, not to cut you off, and I know you need to talk about this stuff to get it out.
Rodriguez takes responsibility for very little and changes the subject as quickly as possible. When asked about Jordan's biological father, she becomes uncomfortable with the subject.
The law says that he has a right to Jordan because he's the father. What that he never comes forward or we don't find him?
He's not going to come forward. He's not.
Then whom would you want to have Jordan? Michelle?
My sister, and I talked to her last night.
Michelle or Anna?
Michelle.
Okay.
Because she's more responsible. Michelle's more responsible. She's the oldest.
So in the absence of Patrick Strawn, you would want her to have Jordan's remains?
Yes.
And to follow through with what she wanted to do, which was a cremation.
Yes.
And to divide the remains between his siblings.
I think that would be best. I talked to her yesterday, and I told her I was going to let you know that, because we all agree, he's never been there. He never wanted no part of Jordan. And even on Facebook, I could even show you from old messages. I sent him pictures of when he was in the NICU. I told him when he was born. I didn't have to tell him. Those are things that even I try to connect with his sister.
What do you mean you don't have to tell the father when their child's born? That's another problem. Yes, you should definitely be notifying a father when they're having a child. Now, if that father wants to act like a complete piece of crap, not have anything to do with their own child, then that becomes, their I don't even like to say their choice because they at least should be helping take care of that child even if they don't want anything to do with it.
I didn't get nothing from
Well,
neither
what
one
if
of
they
them.
come back and they do want him? Then what?
I doubt it. I mean,
But if they do, then there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, there, look at.
I hope not, for your sake, and
I
for your.
don't. Me personally, I don't think they will. Mm, They've never stepped up before, so I'm thinking. We just got to think. I'm just gonna have my sister do everything until further notice. If he does come through, if he doesn't, I don't know.
Okay.
But
Do you have any questions for me at this juncture?
No. But would I still be able to see him or no?
So,
To at least say my last, finals to him. I mean, if I can't, I can. I'll just, say him in prayer or whatever to myself. But
It's him to see your finals. You're the one that sit there and said you watched him take his last breath, and he looked like he was mad at you. Because then, no, he was just telling me he loved me.
I think I just kind of need that closure.
I don't suspect that they're done with their examination at this point. And I think that
They're not going to.
they're probably not going to allow you that.
Wow.
And I don't think that you want to see photos of him. You actually physically want to see your child.
That's very true.
Wow. It's just.
Is there any other questions you have for me at this juncture?
So they're gonna go ahead and charge me?
Oh yeah,
Today?
here we go. Back to our charges.
Yes. I'm going to charge you today at some point, and you'll probably go to court in the morning. And then in the morning, we're going to talk to the other half of the equation in Medina County.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck with that.
Well, I really don't care if he speaks or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe you should, since it's his brother that called and alerted you
And I
about
want you to know that I
Yeah.
helped to arrange the visit with your sisters.
Thank you. That helped a lot.
Yeah.
You can't go through this alone. And what I would say to you is I've had members of my own family do big chunks of time for some really fucked up shit.
And they told me, Larissa, you've never had a record. You shouldn't even be here.
Well,
this
And
is
now I feel bad because my little sister, she's taking it hard.
well.
Me, I shouldn't. I know your 4-year-old should be running around, breathing. That's what should be.
I know that she feels it's her fault. And it's not her fault.
When it comes to murder, having any sort of previous arrest record is a moot point. This isn't something like a traffic violation where a person can be let off with a warning.
I assured her
Sure.
that the other half of the equation will be held responsible for his part in it. Because it's undeniable that when he comes into the picture, that this child's life changed irrevocably. So,
Because I was in plenty other relationships before him and nothing happened.
That we know of.
I'll be right back.
You were paying off the social worker with food stamps.
That is it right there.
Yeah, the food stamps.
There's a car in the driveway. It's got a fenced in right there. Ready to run display. Frank, yesterday, Lincoln 7437.
Look how nice, like, the house next door to this, like, looks and taken care of. And
Frank yesterday, Lincoln 7437 is on a 2017 Chevy four-door.
Anyway.
Listed out of Lakewood. It's showing 227 attached to it for a Tony Smith. For Larson out of North Homestead.
Okay, it's parked in this yard here.
Copy.
look at that trash and the what the. I mean, it's just get to his roundabout. Can't even imagine.
Nothing looks disturbed. The gate is open.
David 16. Can you run that plate?
Nothing looks disturbed.
It is coming back clean on a 95 Chevy two-door to a Sylvester Sims out of Brooklyn.
That's coming back to somebody with a warrant or something.
I have that address.
Start tapping on these doors over here. Doesn't nothing look disturbed over here, by the way.
The address is going to be 4923 Ridge Road, 4923 Ridge Road, and the only phone number attached is going to be 216-559-8119.
Wow.
Sylvester Sims.
Yes, sir?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, the address is that is just association. Is that Parma or?
It's in Brooklyn, 44144.
Tap right here.
Terminal 284.
This footage shows officers who have been called in to check on the Rodriguez children.
Oh, the welfare check, huh? Just remember,
Radio to Adam 17 for 1.
they were called in. They were called by the brother of the guy from in another country to check on the kids. Okay, so the little boys are buried in the backyard right now, and they both know it. They're the ones that put him there. The woman that you just saw get interrogated, and the man she tried to blame for everything, even though she was the one that was there when he took his last breath.
Thank you, 1022.
Jump up some of this little bit. Look, he's just walking around the house.
Adam, per the caller, this is an update that we just got. Per the caller, indicating that the child was possibly buried a couple of months ago.
What did she say? The caller said what?
Indicating that the child was possibly buried a couple of months ago.
She said the child is possibly, man. Sorry, guys. I didn't hear that.
Per the caller, this is an update that we just got. Per the caller, indicating that the child was possibly buried a couple of months ago.
That the child was possibly buried possibly a couple of months ago. That's what the caller said. The dude's brother.
Okay, copy that. An update on our end, there's nothing in the rear looks to be disturbed, so we have somebody at the door right now, so step by.
Yeah.
7222 to check 2. She's got 5 kids.
7222.
Are your kids here?
Somebody I named East at West 41.
You mind if
I
you step in?
named East at West 41. For a 3-car accident in the middle lane.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a semi involved.
You have one of
Remember, she knows where this kid is. She knows where her 4-year-old son is.
4 or 5 year
Facing
old.
the wrong way. Code 1.
How old are your children?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at their confusing look.
There's a semi involved.
You have one of 4 or 5 year
Facing
old.
the wrong way. Code 1.
Look
How
how,
old are your children?
look how confused she looks. She says you got one about 4 or 5 year old, the 4 or 5 year old, and she's looking like, huh? What are you talking about?
Okay.
You just turned
23.
Is it a boy? A girl? What?
little boy,
A boy. What's the boy's name?
Anthony.
Okay. See if you can get a name.
It's not anything.
Well, we got a call want us to check on the well-being of the 5-year-old, 4 to 5 year old.
All my kids are good.
Okay. What can we see?
They're like,
Okay, I believe you.
don't mind me, man. But I have them all taken out in my room.
Okay. Okay.
Negative. Just
My
on the
oldest
brother
one,
of
she's right
Christopher
there.
Rodriguez and his girlfriend, Larissa Rodriguez.
Let me know. Fine.
All right. Hello, kids. All right. All right. All right.
Apparently Larissa has,
What's your name, ma'am?
apparently Larissa has 9 other children and she told the other
Is there, I mean, a reason?
She has 9. This is what it just said, 9 children.
Hold on. Do you have any ID or anything?
She said she has 9.
It's like 4 in that room up there.
Nine kids.
Watch your walks. How many kids do you have, man?
I have 9 altogether,
Okay.
but I have some that don't live with me. But these are the ones that do live with me.
Okay.
Where's Christopher at?
He's in jail. He's been in jail for child support. He's been in there since like October.
Was he here when the dog bit the lady?
Yeah.
That
I
was him,
think
right?
so.
Is that him?
Yeah. But he hasn't even been here. He's been in Medina County.
So they're saying he's in jail for not paying child support.
Rodriguez responds to the wellness check, failing to mention that Jordan isn't there.
Mm-hmm. The one they're looking for.
When my son came down and said, "Mama, the police are here." I said, huh?
Remember, apparently this is where.
So Christopher's been in jail.
Remember, this is the one apparently where they're. From what I took now, you've all watched the same thing I have. From what I took, this is where they witnessed the kid eating a cockroach sandwich.
Since October.
It's October.
Yeah. He's been in Medina County. He's been there October 24th.
What's his last name?
Huh?
What's Christopher's last name?
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez? Is that your husband?
No, we're not legally married.
Gotcha.
And you just watch that police officer
Legally
look,
married.
Gotcha.
walk back into.
Is that your husband?
No. Huh?
What's Chris?
Look.
He's been there October 24th.
What's his last name?
Huh?
What's Christopher's last name?
Look, there's where blurred out, whatever they blurred his face out, which is weird because he's a, public servant. But he's now went into the kitchen. I wonder if this is where he sees the sandwich.
Rodriguez? Is that your husband?
No, we're not legally married.
Gotcha. He's in jail in Medina?
Yeah, he's in Medina County. He's been in there since October 25th. October 24th, October 25th, something like that.
Do you have a child with special needs?
Oh, Jordan? Yes, I do.
How old is Jordan?
Jordan, he is just turned 5.
Where's Jordan at?
He's with his dad. He's going to be visiting for the holiday. He's not here with us right now.
I mean, remember what she just told the interrogator, when we went to the interrogation back here, is that his dad doesn't want nothing to do with him, doesn't really even want the investigator to contact him. Now she's saying, oh, he's with him.
For the holiday.
Where's Dad at?
In Texas. He's not even here. Is that who you guys are pertaining to?
Maybe, possibly.
What was the call mainly about?
Just checking the welfare.
Oh. I get these all the time because I got ignorant ones who want to sit there for all.
Do you know, what's his dad's name, Jordan's dad?
Patrick. Pat?
Do you have a number to Patrick? Can we reach that?
We need a list of
No,
all your
right
kids'
now.
names.
A list? Can I get a pen? And
Sure. Or you could tell me.
Here, I'll write it down because
First-
it's a lot easier.
Okay. Firstborn, all the way down the line. Supposedly Jordan is with Dad
Yes,
in
he's
Texas.
with Dad.
Yeah.
We can call him.
Yeah.
Huh? Right now, I don't have the number because he was going to get a new number.
But he's got families.
So her kid is there with him. Remember, we all know this is made up. This is what she's telling the cops. That he's with him for the holidays, but she can't get a hold of him. So you'd send your child off with somebody you don't have no contact with together. Never.
So we
Yes.
talked to them.
I mean, I don't know what this is pertaining to.
Just to the young oldest to the youngest. And if you know the date of birth, put it under there. That'll be fine.
Ask the mom if she knows the birthdays. I would hope so. But hell, look at who we're dealing with. Here, look at this guy. Walk back in the kitchen.
How long you been living here?
I've been here about 2 years.
2 years, okay.
1 month, 3.
Look at that kid at the top of the stairs. I don't know if it's a girl or boy. Look at his arms. What is that? What is that? Look, there's 2 of them now. No, it's waving. Nice guy.
Oh, yeah?
No. Good cop. That's a good cop because he's not taking, he's making sure that he has the information. He's making her write it down. He's not taking her word for it. He's like, we need to see this kid. We got to find this kid. He's better than the, food stamp bribe social worker.
Yeah.
The oldest ones that they're probably talking about too is Angel Gilbert. I haven't had custody of them since years ago. Do you need that information too? Or
Well, you say you had
All
9.
your kids.
those? I'm only missing. Okay.
You got 9. You're a little short. A couple short there.
Okay, I'm gonna put the ones that I don't have right here. Non-custody.
Okay. And where are they at?
Those- These ones are, he went to foster care. One's with the grandmother. Then I have the other one who Dad took custody.
Okay.
So,
Is that the one she told detectives to call and get their stories about how good of a mom she is and all the stuff she's been through? Is the one she's not had custody of?
How long you live here, man?
I've been here
2 years.
Red flags are raised when the officer realizes that not only are several of her children not in the home, but the child he most needs to see is supposedly visiting his father. It is a foolish lie by Rodriguez, since they are not going to take her word without verifying Jordan's location.
Exactly. And that's what I said. That makes them, that's exactly what you want to see from police officers.
You didn't say how long ago it was.
No. How little.
What's that? Your name? She said her name. He said it was the boy girl.
She says the girl.
Oh, she.
Mimi.
Your Mimi?
No, that's Tati.
Oh.
No.
Do I have to put her there?
Tell me something about Patrick. Do you know anything about Patrick?
He stays in Texas. I mean, we were together for about 2 years.
What's his last name?
Really?
Strong. We wasn't together actually too long.
Listen to this now. Listen to this spinorama. First off, it was we was together for 2 years, and then she struggles to think of the dude's last name. Now it's let me back that back up. Well, we went together really like 2 years.
Strong. We wasn't together actually too long. He was just like an internet thing.
Do you know his? Do you know his like when he was his birthday or anything?
No, that I did not. You know we.
What's Jordan's last name?
Rodriguez. He took it from me.
Took it from me. What the hell?
You got a phone number here, man?
His phone just recently just.
Your phone number.
Oh, my phone 216-456-4301.
Okay. So how many kids, you have these children to live with you, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 live with you.
Yes.
Do you live here by yourself or do you live with
Technically,
anyone?
I'm here by myself. I mean, Chris comes and goes, back and forth.
Chris is the one that's in jail right now.
Yes, he's been in jail since October 24th or October 25th.
She knows what day he went to jail. Don't know, barely can remember the last name.
And that's in Medina County.
Yes.
What was he arrested for?
He was arrested for child support.
Oh, child support?
Yes.
Jeez. How many kids does he have?
He has one.
One?
And he's 15. Yeah.
Oh, the other boy is 15? Okay. Okay. Man, I would really love to get in touch with Jordan.
Okay. Is there any way I can give you when I find the number?
And look at how she's acting. When people, like, this is my biggest problem. I'm gonna bring this in and drop this on you. I think y'all can take it. But this is my biggest problem when all that stuff was the like believe all women shit came out. Like believe all women. I'm like, are you nuts? I'm a woman. I'm here to tell you that I've known women in my lifetime. Okay, in the small podunk town I live in with barely 13,000 people, I know of women that have tried to manipulate men and tried to get pregnant by men in order to trap them in relationships. I personally know people that have done that, tried to do that. I know women that have manipulated men and threatened them with calling police on them and accusing them of things that they didn't do as a retaliation because they were mad because they moved on with another woman or they cheated on them or whatever reason. I know that. I know that's happened. Just my limited amount of experience, even in those situations with just people that I have known. I mean, I even had a mother-in-law that one time showed up at my house when I was married to her son, and she was outside with her water hose spraying mud off her car. And I asked my husband, "What is she doing?" "Oh, she's trying to just get the mud off her car." She basically led that conversation into telling me that she was messing around on her husband that I knew and I liked very well. And this and that she was hooking up with the mechanic of the town that she worked in, which is the next town over from us. And on her way back home, she was going to spray her car off so she could go back home and it wouldn't raise red flags with her husband. And that day's when I told my husband at the time, I said, "I don't care if she is your mother. I don't condone that. You know how I feel about cheating and all that." I said, "I'm not covering for anybody, including your mother. I'm not going to be able to look him in his face and lie to him. I'm not doing it. If she wants to have that kind of but she wants to act like that, then she can do it at your sister's house or go buy a damn car wash. I will not contribute to her floozying around behind her husband's back." And I mean, then I had his sister come over. And I'm not going to get into all that. It's just, listen, I'm telling you, when I say believe all women's bullshit, you better ask for some evidence. You better make sure they have their head screwed on right. You better make sure they're not trying to manipulate people or get their way with doing certain shit. And notice, I'm not saying all women, of course not, but I'm saying that believe all women bullshit is just that bullshit.
Contact
Kids you got?
I got 2.
Any of the kids disabled?
He's not really disabled, but that's the one that's with his dad.
No?
No.
Okay.
He's not really
What do
disabled.
you mean?
He's just SSI. He can't talk.
How old is he?
He just turned 5.
Okay.
That's
He's
the
not
worst.
disabled, but he can't talk.
He live?
He's staying. He doesn't live there, but he's just visiting for the holiday.
What? In Texas?
Yeah.
And where he usually lives here?
Yeah.
Okay. What? You got a family members in Texas?
That's why I said, is there a number or something where I can contact you guys?
How long has he been in
No, you
Texas?
can get it now. It's not a big deal. We'll wait. Right.
Yeah, we
How long
ain't
has he
going
been in
nowhere.
Texas?
He's been only over there for a couple weeks. Because he goes over there to, visit and stuff like that.
Wait a minute. He goes where to?
No.
He goes.
Father.
Yeah.
He goes to-
I want to say sperm donor, but
He goes to Texas to visit.
yeah. He goes there, he went there last year, went there this year.
Okay.
Because he just goes to visit family out there. But I mean, other than that, he's here.
So Jordan has family members in Texas.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Do you know any numbers or how to get in touch with anybody who actually lives in Texas?
I mean, right now, his phone just got disconnected.
What's his address?
I'm waiting for him to call me.
What's his address?
I don't
You
know
just didn't
personally.
send the kid to who knows who, right?
I mean, no.
There you go, cop. There you go. You didn't just send your kid somewhere and you don't even know how to contact where he is, would you?
I don't know the address personally because me and his dad don't really associate like that.
But you let him go with him, right?
Right, he just had his phone disconnected. He's going to be calling me with the phone number. So, and that's the only way I can contact him.
No, I think these cops probably smell something ain't right.
Yeah, it's interesting. I sent it
Something ain't right.
The story is concerning. No mother is going to send her 5-year-old child off with someone she cannot get in contact with
Exactly.
and doesn't know their address. The officer goes back outside and looks around the house again, but Jordan has been buried for several months. and there is no sign of a fresh disturbance to draw attention. On June 28, 2018, Larissa Rodriguez pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter, felonious assault, endangering children, and gross abuse of a corpse. Her most recent child was delivered while she was behind bars in April 2018. The baby was sent to live with foster parents, although it is unclear if it is with any of its siblings. Thank you for watching.
Imagine that. Wow. Okay, well, I just wanted to finish it up with this. I found the sentencing where she got, the mother got 25 years. The man got, wait a minute. No, that ain't right. Hang on a second. Uh, Hang on. Let me make sure I'm saying that right. Yeah, she got 25 years. The man got 28 years. There's him, maximum 28 years. It was a maximum. And thank God, because as you notice, I said earlier, here's this, woman that was supposed to be checking on the welfare of them. Apparently had been doing this scam with them for these food stamps since like 2015. There she is by using their food stamp card. And according to records in the time, about $10,000 with the food stamps. So she's $10,000 was the amount of this kid's life, apparently. She was sentenced to 3 years in prison. So at least something happened to the woman that was supposed to be taking care of these, checking in on these kids where she was cashing in her food stamp card. All right. Well, this is the end of this one. I thought this would be kind of like throwback to kind of showing you that, yep, there are pretty evil people in this world, man. And this is evidence of that, in my opinion. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one.